Is Marina Granovskaia linked to secret payments made by Roman Abramovich? Today, my friends, we have a ton of big stories to get through, including transfer news, sale news, club news, and a lot more. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry I haven't been here the past few days. It was my dad's wedding this weekend, so it's been a very hectic last few days, but I'm back now and I'm looking to make some more videos. I hope you guys are happy to see me back. Hit that like button if you guys are. But before we continue on, we have an incredibly special announcement to make today by today's sponsor in Parimatch UK. We have a very special announcement, but how would you like the chance to watch Chelsea play at Stamford Bridge this weekend? That's right, guys, our friends over at Parimatch UK are giving away 2 hospitality tickets for Chelsea vs Burnley this Saturday. Now, it is completely free to enter. All you have to simply do is head over to Parimatch UK's official Twitter account, give them a follow, along with sharing and replying with hashtag ParimatchCFC on their promotional giveaway posts. It really is that simple. Now, I like to make your lives easy, so I've included the link to their Twitter page where you can find the giveaway posts in the description below, alongside full terms and conditions too. So if you'd like to enter for free, go and click on that link in the description. But of course, you must be 18 plus or over to enter, and you have to be a UK resident too. So this giveaway ends tomorrow. That is Tuesday, 10 AM. So make sure you guys get your entries in before the deadline. And of course, I want to give a massive thank you to Parimatch UK for this amazing giveaway. Don't forget to enter. And getting straight back into the news, it seems like Matson is now set to become one of the most in-demand left backs in Europe this summer. Borussia Dortmund are reported to now be ready to exercise the full release clause in that deal to sign him for 34 million euros. However, they may now have some competition because reports in Germany today state that Bayern Munich now see Matson as a potential successor to Alphonso Davies if he signs for Real Madrid. Now, their first option would be Theo Hernandez for Milan, but Milan are quoting fees of around 100 million euros for Theo Hernandez. I think that's ridiculous. The guy is a talent, but he isn't worth anywhere near that type of money. So Matson is seen as a more realistic alternative that they have a high chance of signing. And outside of your Dortmunds and Bayern Munich's, clubs like Newcastle's and many clubs in Serie A are paying great attention towards Matson, as his development in 2024 has been outstanding. In 12 appearances for Borussia Dortmund, that is now 1 goal and 2 assists, and he has been one of the best players in the Bundesliga so far this season. Now it seems like we are guaranteed to earn big money for Matson's sale, and I have to say, for like the 6th time this month, I can't believe that is going, but I think we can all accept the fact that he is the sacrificial sale, because we need to raise funds for FFP, and we need to raise funds fast, so we can understand how much of a transfer budget we have to play with this summer. So I understand it on that note, but on the other hand, there aren't many left backs around the same age category that are as good as him, have the same potential, and outside of like the established, experienced left backs in this area, you know, how many guys are there better than Matson right now? So it's an interesting story. Doesn't mean I'm happy with things, even though I accept and understand what needs to happen. But if somehow finds his way to Bayern Munich, it continues this recent trend of Bayern showing more appreciation for our club talents compared to us at times. So that's the Matson story out the way. Let's now continue to talk summer transfer plans. Now, there was an interesting story that came out from The Sun, and they detailed the fact that we are ready now to offload 7 key players this summer. And in terms of summer business, we want to sign a centre-back, a left-back, a free scoring striker, and a technical winger to add to the squad. And in my opinion, I kind of semi-agree with all options. As I've said, for my opinion, I feel like signing another centre-back is overkill, considering that we could reinvest that money in more important areas. And I think that one of the most pressing concerns of this team is that we do not have that technical winger, dribbling specialist that most top clubs have, because you need that guy to, you know, create havoc in games, to improvise situations, create space for his teammates, to, you know, create something unexpected. That is what we definitely miss, and there are some interesting names that are being floated around, which I'll discuss later on as the story goes on. But as we currently know, FFP is tied behind how much we can invest this summer, because Ideally, we can sell most players before the Euros comes, because this way at least we have more of an understanding behind our budget for the summer. Because with the Euros happening in the summer, that is going to really slow down a lot of business. And, more annoyingly, it means that if you're interested in any players and they have a great Euros, their fees now go up. So everything gets a lot more complicated during these times. In terms of sales, the 7 key sales we are looking at would be Raheem Sterling, Ian Matson, Lukaku, Kepa, Gallagher, Jalaba, and Broja. There's like 4 Cobham grads. There's Lukaku, who has his 37 million release clause. It does seem like maybe AS Roma won't be able to afford him unless they can guarantee securing Champions League football at the end of the season. So in my opinion, if there's one club that I want to see lift the Europa League this season, it is going to be Roma, because if they can win that, they will have the money to, I think, buy Lukaku outright. And listen, Lukaku, seasoned striker like himself, has over 400 goals in his career. I think he has nearly 20 goals for Roma this season. He's still an established striker in his own right. I'd be curious if another Serie A club comes in for him, but I think realistically, his future could be in Saudi Arabia. We know Todd Bowley is keeping his contacts there very strong. We know that he was receiving offers last summer. Lukaku's been very coy about his future. He's keeping things close with his chest. He's being smart this summer, because I think there's a strong possibility that he is set to receive a mega payout by signing for a Saudi club. So considering all these sales, we could bring in a tidy amount of money and profit, because I feel like this summer will be like one of the final big summers of spending that we are set to see for the next few seasons. So we have to get things right. Now, some of the rumored players we are looking at, of course, Diomande, Lenny Yoro, Todibo, players like Dybala. The interest is still there, even though Aston Villa are making a massive effort to try and sign him for next season. Of course, we are still showing interest in Esteval Willian. Looking at guys like Michael Olise. Musiala is a dream that I guess we will hope we can try and get something done for. And most recently, players such as Xavi Simons, who's currently on loan from Paris Saint-Germain at RB Leipzig. It's curious to see if Paris Saint-Germain will keep the player, but with a talent like Xavi Simons, it'd be crazy not to turn towards him now that Mbappe is leaving. So we have some big expectations for business this summer. Let's hope that we get the right deals done. I don't want to see overspending. I don't want to see 10 more young players bought. I want to see focused signings this summer. So all of this stuff is going to be key, because if we have any hopes or aspirations to sign Victor Osimhen, we're going to have to sell players to fund that. So that's one of the big stories out of the way. Let's now move on to another big story. Now, one of the big stories this afternoon is Marina Granovskaia linked to secret payments made by Roman Abramovich. Now, I guess all of this is no surprise really, because we all know about the Cyprus confidential leak expose, which came out I think a few months back, which highlighted Roman Abramovich's usage of offshore companies to subsidize payments to gain that unfair sporting advantage. Now, as we know, FFP was introduced for a reason, to create a more competitive playing field in the game, and that was used to counterbalance like the free spending that you were seeing under us all those years back when Roman first took over. Now, as it was reported in that expose, we've used these offshore companies to fund moves for players, to pay off agents, staff, scouts, etc, etc. But today, The Guardian report that Roman's former right-hand wingwoman in Marina Granovskaia may have gained some benefits herself in these dealings. Now, the article mentions that she received 3 loans up to the tune of £12.5 million. They included loans for a £7.5 million house near Stamford Bridge. Now, when all these deals were going on, it's believed that Marina was the one to have sent out the copies of all these agreements relating to payments made, which I guess could provide proof of her awareness of this type of operations. So, failure to disclose payments like this means that we could fall foul and breach Premier League rules. And I guess it goes back to those ongoing rumours of why we were forced to accelerate the rebuilding of our football club, of the squad, as well as other club priorities like this multi-club network model. And I guess things go back to those rumours that we've heard since Clearlake first took over, that we've been forced to accelerate the rebuilding of our squads and other club priorities because we are expecting to receive a pretty significant punishment for these types of backdoor dealings. Now, I guess it is no surprise that Clearlake were the ones to report these suspected breaches to stay ahead of the curve and stay ahead of the game. As they first took over, accusations came out saying that under the former ownership, we weren't being run like a proper enterprise or a proper business. So this expose coming out, just giving us an idea behind what life was like behind the scenes at our football club. It doesn't paint a pretty picture. And it seems like they've made things a bit sticky for Clear Lake right now, because they have to basically live with things that they never had anything to do with to begin with. So let's see how this goes on. Now, the Guardian report mentions that there could be an independent panel of sports law experts that would be formed that could summon our former execs to give evidence against this case. But who knows how that works, because I guess technically this isn't like a legal matter, because this is just a matter within the Premier League and football rules, right? So let's see what happens with this story. So listen, hands up, I'm not an expert when it comes to legal proceedings like this, or like all the intricate details around matters of this case, but I wouldn't worry about us getting expelled from the Premier League. That won't happen. But it does seem like if this case does continue to grow and build, then there could be real serious consequences, such as us maybe getting like a financial punishment or a transfer ban, or maybe even a points deduction. So we just don't know at this point in time. I don't want to speculate too much, because there's still, a lot more time to really understand what is set to come from this case. So my friends, that's one of the big stories out of the way. Let's now move on to one of the feel-good stories of this week. And today, Hafiz Umar Ibrahim, young 18-year-old Nigerian striker, is set to begin his 2-week trial at Chelsea Football Club. We have sent out an invitation to him. We have been interest from Norwegian club, how do you say their name, Bodo Glimt or something like that, who were hoping to sign him, but we basically outclassed their offer, and the player wasn't too interested in moving to a colder country as well too. Anyway, Hafiz Ibrahim first came on the radar after he took part in the renowned youth tournament, which is known as the Via Reggio Cup. And in that tournament, he scored 10 goals. Now, his team, which is like an amateur youth team called Odujo FC, they got to the semi-finals. Ibrahim actually scored in the semi-final. He scored like 2 back-to-back hat-tricks within that tournament. And I guess after really impressing club scouts and, making a name for himself, it seems like we've decided to take a closer examination of him to see how he does within our club setup. So I'm hoping for his sake that he has a successful trial period with us, because the plan is, if the player is a success, he could sign a deal with us, and then the plan would be for him to be loaned out to Strasbourg. Now that is interesting, because as we know, we're using Bluco, of course, to fund many signings for Strasbourg, and we're also loaning players that we own to Strasbourg too. Now, we've signed quite a lot of strikers. We signed Omega, who was doing bits in the Austrian league. We've recently signed Miloš Lukovic, the Serbian 18-year-old, that Strasbourg have officially signed, but they loaned him back to Belgrade. So he is going to have some competition if he finds himself in Liga next season. But, regardless of what happens, the fact that, he's coming from such humble beginnings, from such a remote club like this, and is now getting his potential first pathways into life at a professional level in like the big leagues. This is big for him. I mean, imagine that contract he could sign if he's successful. That's going to set him up, set his family up, and really get his career on track. So for his sake, I'm hoping that things go especially well. I hope that he's relaxed, he's comfortable, he trusts himself, he plays his game and does what he does best, because I think he'll be seen very fairly here. And even if it doesn't work out, I'm sure that we have people behind the scenes at this football club that will set him up with other opportunities outside. So really happy to hear this news. To give you guys a little bit more context too, he's a player that tries to model his game on Ibra, Luis Suarez and Lukaku, even though he claims himself that maybe he's a bit more closer to a Lukaku style player, which is of course, a big thing, right? So as I'm saying, good luck and good wishes goes out to Hafiz Umar Ibrahim. I hope things go very well. And my friends, end things with the final story today. It's a quick one on Conor Gallagher, but it seems like he could be sacrificed at the end of the season so we can comply with FFP. Now once the season ends, he will have 12 months left on his deal, and at the moment he's one of the most sellable assets we possess. Obviously, with him coming to his final year, it means that his transfer value also falls. Now, ideally, we'd hope to receive around 50 million. I guess we'll cross our fingers for that, considering that he's become a first-team player this season, and he is now like an established England international player. So he'll have a lot of competition, but realistically, you're expecting to command bids between 30 to 40 million. And it does seem like Tottenham will look to strike at the end of the season to try and sign him outright. So I don't know how to feel about that. I love him to sign for any club that's not Tottenham, and I just feel like if he goes to Tottenham, he'll become like that new hate figure, even though it's got nothing to do with him. And even though Conor Gallagher has religiously tried to stay at this football club forever and done everything in his power to do so. So it's kind of crazy that we're at a point right now where even outside of contract negotiations, because the reality is he isn't being offered any new deals, there aren't ongoing contract talks at the moment, and all these old talks of Conor asking for like ridiculous amounts of money, they've come out and they've been rebuffed. And it sounds very similar to the story in which Maatsen Bayern left the football club, where for the final few months there was no conversations at all, and that's because the directors weren't really looking to keep Mount here for the following season. So it seems like something similar is being done for Conor Gallagher, but I guess for this particular context, due to the fact that we must be complying with FFP, it seems like Conor will be sacrificed, even though it does undermine Pochettino's wishes, who wants to keep him here next season. But we don't even know if Pochettino himself is set to be here for next season. So it's not looking good for anyone right now. But I'm sure that once there's more information that comes out around what's going on, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, I hope you keep him, because I think this is a guy you keep in your squad. I'm sorry, all the top teams tend to have that like elite ball-winning midfield player. I don't understand why in football we can't accept that players have different roles, and with different roles come different benefits for the squad. Listen, I'm not saying Conor Gallagher's the second coming of Steven Gerrard, but he doesn't have to be. Not when he's an elite presser, when he's elite defensively, where he's very tactically strong and aware, and when he's decent technically, and when he contributes to affecting the game with goals, assists, or winning those key duels. Sometimes that's all you need. And I feel like when everyone just kind of undermines Conor Gallagher and complains about his game, it's like, you know, you're not seeing anything special here. We all know this, but you're just undermining and dismissing the actual benefits you receive from a player like this. And it's like, you know what? Expand your mind and horizons on the game. We get you, but you yourselves are not getting it. So my friends, on that note, that's all the big stories today. Share your thoughts and opinions. It's a bit of a long video, but so many big things to break down. But of course, before I go, if you guys want to enter and have a chance to win hospitality tickets this weekend for Chelsea vs Burnley, click on the link below. And good luck to anyone who wins that. So my friends, on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll see you guys later with some more videos. Cool.